guys can hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, sweet.
I leaned in to hear you.
All right, so we're live. We're live.
Cool.
This is happening.
Hi.
Okay. What's up?
I didn't look to the camera. I looked to the monitor. Yeah. Did you do that too?
No, I looked at the camera.
I'm the only fool
okay,
here.
So we got Joe Tomchek, right?
Yes.
And Andy
Kosanke.
Commando.
Andy Commando.
I was like, there's a stanky Kosanke. But so the two masterminds behind Paper Holland.
Two of the
masterminds.
They're all masterminds.
The rest of our band is watching like.
They are masterminds.
6 of us.
I know them all. They're great. Great. It's a great band.
Yeah, you play with Glenn.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a great band. I remember seeing. I think the first time I saw you guys was at Company Brewing. I think.
Cool. We've played there
A lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember what show it was?
I remember. No, there's all those shows playing together.
Right.
The last couple of years.
Yeah, and you are usually at our company show, so like I have a.
I've been to a few probably when you've been at Company. So
yeah.
I can't remember. Like it's like wait, which one was it?
Yeah. We love Company.
I bet if I look back at all the.
Yeah, they
history of them, I'd be
hosted.
able to be like, yeah, wait, that's it. That's the one. Yeah.
They hosted our EP release show in 2016. So
that might have been it actually. I mean,
cool. Yeah.
Were there
it was sort of
fast food
16?
commercials?
No, just kidding. No, it was in.
Oh yeah, we had fast food commercials playing behind us because the EP was called Fast Food. So we had one of our friends, Andy C, cut together a bunch of old like Wendy's and Burger King commercials and play them on the projector behind us.
Sure.
It was sweet. But yeah, they sort of like hosted our like rebirth as a larger band. So we always like playing a Company.
So I think might have to. I don't have headphones, but I think we might have to go closer.
Oh, we need to get closer.
Get up closer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, even if it sounds
All right.
like just get up.
I'll get a little closer.
Get intimate.
Yeah, audio. yeah.
I feel like you got more serious now. No, it didn't.
So much closer. I'm sorry. I'm like blinded by this light.
Yeah, it is. It's literally like a beam right across your
just
eyes.
across
Like
your
only.
I feel like
Can we-
Morpheus. Or no,
Cyclops?
It's like.
And then I went to it was a test the next day, which I had to study for until that night. That's why I was trying to like just cram in as much.
Right. I feel like everyone does that.
I passed the test,
Nice.
Congrats.
What was the class?
I don't even remember.
Worth it.
How many Red Bulls did you drink before that?
Actually,
It's a podcast
I think
class.
it was discrete. I think it was it was differential equations.
Okay.
It was differential equations.
Something worth studying.
Yeah.
Shit, man. I was so
Your
behind.
sleep
I was
differentials.
so behind. I didn't go to class at all. But no, that test that next day, like right in the middle of the test, and I was like going at it. But I started to feel this like gnawing in my head, like this this crazy weird like thing in my head, just like this tension or something that I've never felt before, and I thought I was going fucking crazy. I was like, whoa, like what is this? And I'm like I'm crazy. I'm going. This is it. This is how it ends.
Did it was it at least cool? Like it filled in all the math for you? Like it.
I'm taking over straight A's. Oh, I'm back. How'd I do?
Red Bull does give you weed.
And A pluses.
That actually probably would have been
It was definitely caffeine. It was like lack of sleep,
Yeah.
caffeine. And
Yeah.
My body just had enough and was just like, stop fucking doing this. Like,
Right.
Stop. I don't know. It happened at that time I just thought, wow, that was crazy. But then it happened again. When
Yeah.
it wasn't as bad, but I didn't have as much stress and I didn't.
Was it another
Drink as
stressful
much.
situation though?
It was another test, yeah. Another test where I stayed
There's so
up.
many of them. Why are there?
It
Why
wasn't
are there so
similar
many
at all.
tests?
It was another test.
I feel like. Do you think teachers ever feel bad like about giving tests? Because like
seeing
they have
people
to
pulling
know.
their
Like
hair out?
it's such a stressful thing, especially like the midterms and the finals and stuff. It's such a thing, and I feel like some teachers are better about it than others at kind of like making it a calm thing. And then you can tell some of them like seeing you like sweat, like they like the pressure.
I think maybe maybe it's because they also went through.
They had to go through it, yeah.
And it's like a hazing thing. Almost.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, we had to do this too,
Right.
And you should have seen all the terrible tests that I had to take. So you must go through this same pressure, and that's what makes you strong and smart. Is if you just struggle with your tests.
Yeah.
But and people, I don't know, what is that? What is that psychological thing? But I feel like people do that with, and even just like bettering the society. People be like,
So,
Well, if someone's talking about allowing American children to go to school or go to college for free, people are like, I had to pay for it, so they have to pay for it.
I think that's called selfishness.
Yeah, maybe that's just it. But humans have that part of them for sure. I don't know. Maybe that's the cynical perspective, or maybe all professors are just
selective equality. Is that
selective?
Is that what it would be?
It sounds like kind of like a reverse empathy, where humans are
I
programmed.
Had it bad, so you must
we
also
want to
have
know
it
that
bad.
other people suffer in the way that we do. I don't know. Is there like a Buddhist thing there or anything?
Well,
Bond through shared experiences
Of misery.
Yeah.
That is a thing, though. I think you go through some shit with people. You remember, I remember a lot of my classmates just because of having to go through that with them, like the late night, studying, and you do bond.
Yeah, no, you bond through struggle for sure, and maybe that. I don't know. I'm not saying this is just one idea, but I think overall, the stress, I could have been taught better ways to do it. I think maybe at an earlier age, or not just thought that Red Bull was the answer to everything. That seemed to be a thing.
The commercials were so convincing.
It's just take or just drink a bunch of Red Bull, or just take some ADHD shit, or what were those? Adderall.
Yeah.
I tried those a couple times, but it was I knew that it wasn't going in the right way. I came to this realization with it all at one point. I was just, I don't need these things.
Yeah.
I'm not actually, I'm tired for other reasons.
Right.
I'm not tired. This isn't gonna solve my tiredness.
You felt more in control of it, or you found a way to take control of what you thought was a problem.
Well, you use that as a crutch.
As a crutch, yeah. And then you were trying to use actual discipline to get through it. It sounds like.
Right. Well, I think that's the better way.
Yeah. That's the long term.
I've had 8 hours of sleep.
Right.
Why am I actually sleepy right now? Is it probably because I ate some crappy food or drank some crazy shit?
Right.
That who knows what's in it?
Right.
And also it's very stressful, and sleep can be a coping mechanism to escape from things. Be like, well, I'm just gonna sleep it off. I know people that have had families like that where everyone yells at each other and they all go and they sleep right after. It's crazy.
Go to your room and sleep.
No, it's a real people use that to because their heart rate just goes down.
Yeah.
And they can escape from the reality of things. You wake up a little more calm.
Yeah, I like that. A midday sleep on it. I'm gonna sleep on it.
It's sort of like going for a walk, but the exact opposite.
In your dreams.
You're just
a walk in the clouds.
The dog just.
We should.
Yeah, those are night terrors. Dogs have night terrors too.
They do. It's real unfortunate. They don't deserve it.
No.
My dog would always. I had a dog growing up, and he would bark, but it sounded like he was whining, but he wasn't whining. He was half barking. He was just going.
He knew you got the idea. He was I don't.
He was sleeping.
No, during sleep.
He was sleeping. So I think he's just his body can only do part of it. He's just emulating in his head. His body is going through some of the motions of bark.
He's barking in the dream.
He's barking in the dream. That's my guess. Is him being "Yo, save my master. Get the fancy lady." Oh well, he was.
Get that chocolate away from my master. They don't know you can have it.
Yeah,
they see it as poison.
Yeah.
I don't know. My dog ate a whole bag of Milky Way once.
Oh.
Yeah, he was all right though.
Probably a lot of that
I think Milky Way
chocolate not being real chocolate helps.
Yeah, exactly. It's well, is it actual chocolate? It's milk. Well, yeah. I mean, it wasn't actually. Maybe now that I think it's a whole bag. Maybe in reality it was one bar, but a full size one.
My dogs got into some chocolate on Christmas. It was wrapped up and hidden. We were out of the house and we came back and they were just destroyed. I have one big dog and one small one. So we were all right, we have to go to the emergency vet. And we had them, they both got charcoal and had to throw up.
Oh, wow.
And our big dog came out and was just fine.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah. Oh, that was crazy. Where are we going next? And they were he ate all of it. And then our other dog, who's 13 now, came
Wow.
And they're like, she had a piece of a wrapper. And like, so she ate nothing and felt horrible, and he ate all of it and was just like chipper.
She was
and
upset
like,
she didn't
Where
get
are we
any.
going next? Where's more chocolate? That stuff was good.
So it must be safer for bigger dogs then, because my dog was a golden and he could eat a lot of things, man. I was talking to my brother about that today and this,
Iron stomachs.
well, they would have some, yeah, definitely, because I remember he would eat a bunch of things like too fast, and he'd just be like, and he'd just puke it back up because he just ate it so fast. But sometimes he didn't like it when it was puked up. But sometimes he would.
That makes sense.
He would eat up again, but it does make sense. But it's like, what the hell, dude? Like,
Yeah.
you seriously just barfed all over the ground. That's not cool. And I had to clean it up, and I thought it was disgusting. So one time I tried. I'm like, well, Cooper will eat anything if I pour barbecue sauce on it.
Oh no!
So I poured barbecue sauce.
Go
on.
on.
And the dog ate it. He ate it.
I mean,
One sort of part of
Success.
it looked at me, and I could tell that he was just like, "Why did you make me do?"
he was like, I know what you've done, and you know I love
I'm gonna be
barbecue
very
sauce.
suspect. Never eating anything for you that has barbecue sauce on it.
I tried to test his limits too. I was like, not. I don't know. I tried in terms of like what food he liked, because he wouldn't like. He would eat mostly everything, but he wouldn't eat vegetables. Most vegetables. Sometimes he might mess with a grape,
Yeah.
or something, because it's got a meaty texture, kind of.
Sure.
But when it comes to like a celery or lettuce or carrots, no way. Not even close.
He's like, fuck this healthy
Yeah.
shit. Give me some
when
vomit and barbecue
When
sauce.
it's got barbecue sauce on it, or like ranch dressing or whatever, he'd eat it.
Okay.
Even if it had a little bit on it.
I mean,
Just
that's
some
kind of
sauce
how
man.
I am usually with vegetables too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, exactly.
How do we cover this?
Yeah.
How do we make it taste like something else?
Ranch dressing is crazy. I can't believe that's so. I mean, I guess I do believe it, but where do they come from? Where does this stuff come
The Hidden Valley.
Hidden Valley, yeah. Hidden Valley.
We're still trying to find that. That's like the next Area 51.
We should storm Hidden Valley.
We're going to do the Hidden Valley raid.
Hidden Valley Ranch raid. I mean, that makes sense. I bet you the ranch technology came from UFOs. Did you hear about this?
Microwaves,
UFOs?
ranch dressing.
This UFO, like now, like the Navy, the United States Navy.
Yeah, I
Did
just
they
saw
like
that.
it?
like
And
had
Tom
an
DeLonge.
Acknowledged?
had
Yeah.
official release, like
Yeah.
saying like, yeah, we saw a UFO.
Tom DeLonge's company like released it, and then the Navy confirmed it that it was real, and they don't know what it
okay.
is.
Right. They don't.
It
but
is unidentified.
They don't classify it as like alien though right
Yeah.
away. Like it's
Yeah.
just like we cannot identify it. So that is a UFO. Like any aircraft that they don't know
Yeah,
the
unidentified
origin of,
flying object.
that they cannot identify. Yeah, but I want it to be aliens.
I mean,
Same.
what? Why wouldn't it be? I mean, to me, it's like, do the ants know we're here? You know, do they? They might not have any freaking idea. You know, I was thinking that there's a fly that flew into my wine at my brother's wedding, a little fruit fly, and I pulled it out, and put it down to see like how long it would take for him to like, if he could recover from it. I don't know how long he was in there. I don't know how drunk he was. You know, I was like,
Come on, buddy, you can do it.
so I held and it didn't take that long. But and then he started to like start moving, and he started to slowly get the stuff off, and he started walking, and then I was just kind of messing with it, and I swiped my hand at it, and he moved, a significant amount of distance for a little fly, and just kept doing his thing. He started cleaning his hands again. I was just like, what? How does he not?
Think I can
like-
hold his liquor.
So like to flies were like wind and stuff. We're
Right. They're just so they only have. So you can only imagine they probably just think it's they don't even know that.
They can't comprehend.
Yeah, exactly. There's no way they could even comprehend that we're there. So like, why would if life is fractal and the whole universe is like, then you have to assume that it's gonna keep going past us, right? So we're probably ants in that sense to probably some other beings that are just coming in through. We might, people probably stop and look and be like, well, yeah, check out that shit.
Don't step on those.
Weird.
They're very fragile.
We're the drunk ants of the universe.
I've heard some stories about like a lot of sightings of, or I forget what it was. This is, totally uncorroborated, and this is just part of my memory of this,
Perfect.
this story. But it was this Navy guy said that they were gonna use all these bombs in the Vietnam War or Korean War or something. They were huge, and there was going to be this huge American attack, but that this guy was loading in these bombs, or they were going to start loading them in. But then they saw these like flash of light and these like flying discs, and all of a sudden all the bombs were disarmed. And then and it was just millions and millions and millions of dollars lost. And all these people were like, and then they think it's, they don't believe the people who were there. Like, we saw a flash of light, and they were like, "Fuck yeah!" Then they didn't. Like, this is sabotage. Who's doing this? It was this crazy thing of millions of dollars of things just up and stopped working. Like, so they had to like repurpose. You'd have to rearm them and stuff. Mm-hmm. But by that time, like, then the politics changed, and then then they couldn't do the attack that they wanted.
It sounds like the Men in Black.
Yeah, right?
I'm pretty sure Will Smith was there.
Is that
they all got neuralized?
Yeah.
Is that a scene in Men in Black?
Yeah, they're just erasing people's memory.
Yeah.
Like, these were never armed.
But if they don't teach them why not to use the bombs, I don't think we learn the lesson.
But they didn't.
They just disarmed them.
They rearmed them.
It was probably like money, though.
Explain.
They were probably like, well,
The aliens were probably wanting money.
The aliens wanted money.
They're trying to get into the market. They just disarm all that and then start selling new arms.
Maybe. I mean, I guess.
The United States makes basically all the arms in the whole world, for the most part. It's our biggest industry, one of the biggest industries.
Yeah.
But so that's why it's crazy when, I don't know. It's an interesting story that, like, the concept of like thinking that maybe there are extraterrestrials or some sort of being or higher power, you could call it, or whatever, even, or just other creatures that are also sentient that have like a sense of altruism or something that we can project on these ideas that there's someone out there that is going to figure stuff out because humans aren't going to figure it out.
Right. We want them to know more than us. It would suck if we met like an alien race that was like really dumb. That would just like. I think we always think of them as like being hyper intelligent. Like because they get to us and like they're this like mysterious force that they have to be smarter than us. But like, what if they're not? Like,
or if their intelligence just doesn't translate.
Right.
To our,
right.
Like the Klingons. You guys watch Star Trek?
A little bit.
Here and there.
Not enough.
The Klingons are just like that. They're equal to humans in technology usually, but they're completely different. The way that their hierarchy of their structure, they're very violent.
Is Worf a Klingon?
Worf
Okay.
Klingon, yeah. They're very violent and like tribal, and like they follow these rituals like to a T.
Yeah.
So they're not as I don't know. It's showing a part of humanity through them, usually. Like, but that's a real possibility too. It's like, yeah, you're saying we think about everyone as being just like these higher beings, or maybe the people too are ants, but what if we find a different colony of ants that are like twice as big, but they have a completely different structure and they dance differently and they have different scents, and it's crazy.
They do that in the movie like Contact. Like the aliens were like something we couldn't even understand because we always, I think, we usually like give them like form in like pop culture. It'd be cool if they were something that we couldn't comprehend.
Cool in a
depending on if they're threatening.
Not cool in
scientific
continued
sense.
Survival.
It depends on their motive, I guess.
How would we know?
I don't know if
Until
they
it was
kill
too
us.
late.
It's on.
Yeah,
if they don't,
yeah,
maybe they're studying.
Or people are saying maybe it's time travel. That like a lot of the stuff could just be humans, but not in the not too distant future, or in the distant future.
Yeah.
But that's I don't understand that fully about. Either there's time travel or there isn't, right? Or
because
once you get it, can't you do it?
You would go back.
Yeah, like so.
So they're.
Then how come you can't? How come the time travel? I don't know. Time travel is a mind fuck. I think a little bit.
It is. I think any movie that ends up involving it is like it's too like Deus Ex Machina. It's like now you can always go back and undo. It's such like a once you introduce time travel, it's like even in like Harry Potter, like once you have the time turn or whatever, it's like, well, why can't you go back and do this now? Like if
go back and actually stop Voldemort
in the first place,
right? First place,
yeah.
That's what everyone says about like Hitler, right? Like you could go back in time and stop. But I don't know. I always think about that other side, though. It's like, well, if Hitler never happened, then people wouldn't know how dangerous fascism is, and it was just going to happen anyway. Or the concepts of eugenics were all, like we, just joked about a second ago, that they're fully in practice across the world, really. Like, before that, even in America, especially in, like, Sweden and all these other places, there, maybe it's not like this, it wasn't like this explicit, like, intense, like, massacre, the Holocaust for, but it was just more designed society kind of, through just, people, whoever had the power, had the positions to, so there's a lot of mass sterilization going on and stuff. But the fact that I think Hitler happened, everyone's just like, whoa, what is all this stuff? Why are you doing, now you can see what it can turn into. What those ideas can turn into,
right?
If they're, fully fleshed out. It's like,
yeah. I don't know that I would say that he needed to happen. I don't,
I would agree.
But I understand the perspective of, like, learning from
evil thing.
from what did happen.
It's
I get that.
Done. So, like,
right.
That's what I mean by the time travel thing. It's
yeah.
like I don't know. It's not maybe overly fatalistic, but it's like, I don't know. You can't change the past, but you can learn from it.
Right.
That's what I mean. I wonder, humans, we might need that stuff, like, to evolve,
to continue to improve. It seems like it's not really working right now.
I'm hoping
to learn from.
I'm hoping it's like
we're not doing a lot of learning. We're not very good at that anymore.
No. Did you guys see what's her name? Greta Thunberg?
Yeah.
The Icelandic. Is she Icelandic?
I don't remember where she's from. Yeah, I just saw that she was speaking to the UN today. It was very powerful.
Yeah.
It was a very good speech. I hope it actually resonates with someone who it hasn't before.
I think it really is just riling up the young people even more. Being like, I don't think it's gonna.
I'm not familiar. What did she say?
Oh, she was like,
I missed it.
We're entering another mass extinction, and you're all just talking about money and. Like, you've stolen my childhood, and she's 16.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, she made a very powerful, compelling reason to hopefully convince some of these people who aren't listening to listen.
Well, she's just like, she's the most powerful thing I heard was when she was like, people don't even think past the year 2050. It's like all these plans are like, 2050, it's so far away.
It's far.
She's like, I'm not even gonna be. I'm gonna be like 70 when it's 2050. Like,
right.
I want to start retiring. Like,
right.
This is real.
Right.
This is my lifetime.
Right.
You guys are just pretending like it's not. It's the movement away from, like, thinking generations in the future. I remember that was one thing I remember hearing about in high school about, like, Native American culture, or at least, like, the Midwest tribes of Native Americans. This concept of, I don't know about there's so many different types, but in history of all that. But one of the tropes that I heard about, generalization of Native American culture was that they would always think 7 generations ahead of time. That all of their practices, if they were farming, if they were hunting or cutting down trees or whatever, is that they would always be thinking 7 generations ahead, where that's true sustainability.
Yeah, I like
that's pretty. Yeah.
There's a proverb, and I'm not even going to try to attribute it, but it's basically that we don't own the present. I think we borrow it from our, like, from the future, from future generations.
Yeah.
And I think anything that makes you more mindful of, like, we need, like, a face of the future. That's why it's good that she went there and put a face on the future for people who are like, oh, like, I guess we are leaving this planet to people after us. And I think a lot of people are very selective about that. I think they know that, like, their business practices aren't sustainable. And sometimes I wonder, like, why people need to amass so much wealth within their lifetime. Like, are they trying to protect it? Like, or do they want their family for generations to be able to be wealthy? And if so, why aren't they more concerned about the future that those generations are going to live in? Like, what is, like, a cap for, like like wealth that is I don't know, like the Koch brothers, like they which was it David or whichever one, like up until he died, like he was just this horrible monster of like a corporate like
setting
it's
up
like
organizations,
right,
to like
stopping the light rail.
Yeah, and it's like you like he never developed a conscience, like even like on his deathbeth he wasn't like give it all to charity, like he didn't have like any moments of like
no Scrooge moments,
right? It's just
I think it's from my understanding it's an addiction, like
that greed
money, like it's a true addiction in every sense of the word. That and then once you get addicted you also have all this power, and so you start to become more and more like in a bubble, and so then
the insular world with other rich people,
and you slowly lose touch with the reality of what's happening in the world, and like you just live in this artificial I don't even know, it's probably they're like kings, so the kingsmen and noblemen of times of old, like it's not too dissimilar. They're super isolated, they live in lives of luxury, it's not too dissimilar from like the serfdom versus the nobles and stuff, like people. Yeah,
there is still that much of like a disparity, like wealth disparity, like hierarchy.
I think I read something that it was $250,000 a year. That's when happiness plateaus. That you will.
I'll be sure to stop.
The distance. Yeah, exactly. When I get there next year.
Yeah.
After I hit the big bucks. But that's what they're saying.
Who said that? Was it someone who only made that much? Like they capped it that much, and they're like, "That's all I wanted."
A survey study, like an extended study by someone.
Okay.
I don't know. Once I have a helper, they can look it up and Google things.
Sure.
But fact checker.
Just take it. Well, don't quote me on it. But 250. That's the general. That was. I've quoted it many times to people.
And is that annual salary, or is that like total salary, like net worth? Okay, so annual salary. So you're still.
That's what I believe.
Okay.
But there's just
even that's unfathomable to me though. Like
maybe if you have a nice big family, or if you have a big family, then maybe you can that'll pay for pretty luxurious life for a whole family.
Right, like college and stuff. I guess I feel like there has to be a way that you start to mentally convince yourself that you need more. I think in order to justify, right? Like if I just get this much more, like we can do this and this and then like I would love to have that kind of wealth to be able to travel and stuff. I can't really.
Yeah. Well, some people are born into the wealth and they don't even know any different.
Right.
So then that. People's relationship with money is crazy. I've been reading this book. I forget what it's called. Like Embrace Your Inner Badass or something. It's a self-help book. Yeah. My sister gave it to me. But there was an interesting chapter in there about a relationship between money. I thought it was one of the more important points of the book, at least for me, was people. You have this love-hate relationship. You'd love to have lots of it. Everyone would.
Right.
But you also like hate it for what it can do to corrupt people and to change, people call it the root of all evil.
Right.
But at the same time, it's glorified and everyone's like, I wish I had more. And you're always wanting more. But you hate it at the same time.
And it literally becomes the way we value
crazy
people.
Relationship.
Yeah.
Like he's like, think about it if that was with your partner or like with a friend. It would not last. If
there was like a currency.
If you loved and hated equal amounts.
If you hated your partner for all that, but then also loved and needed more and more of it.
That sounds like fear.
Yeah, well, and that's the idea is to get that fear away from the money. Like people's it's not the money that's the problem. Yeah, the systems that in place. To me, I'm a big systems guy. That's huge. But like for the person on the individual level to not fear the money, just the concept of money, not to fear the concepts. As much, but I don't know. Like then, at least that's what that's an interesting perspective that I'm taking, like entertaining with this through this book was interesting. I was thinking about it like that, at least in terms of relationship. And then I started thinking about, well, how do I treat my relationship with my car and all these other
did you go out and fill the tires and you're like, I appreciate you so much.
I got an oil change today. It was long past due. Well, it wasn't that. It was, it's like one of those things. I'm not hearing any squeakiness. It's actually running pretty, but it's still like in the recommended range. So I was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna do it.
Yeah, I'm good at doing that, like following the sticker.
Yeah,
because it's right there.
Yeah,
it's like guilting you, but
great.
not as good about other stuff probably.
But usually the sticker is like 1,000 or 2,000 before when you really need it. That's what I hear.
Right. Well, they want you to come in earlier, obviously, but also they know you're going to wait.
True.
So then once we know that, they have to set it like back even more because we're all compensating for it. It's like if you try to trick yourself like with your with setting your clock.
That's how I feel like how it is in the Milwaukee music scene with set times.
Right. Yeah, we all know that we have to trick people. We have to tell them an hour earlier for the set time or whatever. Yeah, and we all know it too.
We've tried to go against it a few times.
Yeah.
To their credit, Midwest Death Rattle, we played a show with them. Strictly advertised the starting time. We got to that time.
I think if everyone does,
we're going on.
I think if everyone does, everyone has to do it.
They're like, we have to change the culture.
It would take a lot though. I was out in LA earlier in the year for 3 months.
There has to be some signal or cue or something that people can understand.
It's just like the time, I think.
For real, we're telling you.
If only there was some exact system of measurement.
There was some agreed system where we all know one truth.
It's like, no, but actually we're playing at this time. Like, everyone's going to wait for you.
Yeah.
Why do we wait? Because we want them to be there.
And then
why can't we get them to be there on time? Should we start later?
I mean...
Should we just have the... What is this paradox?
I don't know.
How do we fix this?
I got a big show comment that it's definitely going to happen right on time. But that's because I feel like it's music nonstop the whole night, so it's like easy enough. It's like, all right, we have this much time. Things are happening from the beginning to the end.
Right.
You have to start on time. So
yeah. If you pack a show enough, there's just a certain time. Like, you have to start.
I think it's important to be like clear on your truth in advertising. If you're going to start later, try to say like doors are at this time and music at this time, and then stick to that.
Exactly.
In LA, they
once you start dabbling into being like, but sometimes maybe also people don't have the shows as organized as it could be, or and it's like, well, like, so we don't know when this band's gonna actually show up,
right? And we get. I mean, we all get details like pretty late. We're all just kind of flying by the seat of our pants.
Someone said it advertised it was at 7. Someone advertised it was at 9.
Yeah.
So things change. Like, I mean, but if you have, I agree with I think what you're saying, Andy. Like, say the exactly what if you don't ever, try to mislead, or to try to get people there. But it's at the same time. But then what do you have to stick with it, right? Even if you know, like, oh, these people they thought it was happening at this time,
right?
You kind of have to wait because it's like, oh well. Yeah. Then are you going back on what you said?
Right. Yeah, I think you have to stick to it. Like if we saw Midwest Death Rattle like the next week and they were supposed to play at 8 and they went on at 8:30, we wouldn't be talking about them because they didn't stick to it. I think
I have faith in them.
I've been going to thank you. I've been going to shows for years, and like I think in my head now I basically am just like I have a general idea of order. I don't think I'm ever going to know exactly when anyone's going to start. And like, I'm like, okay, that show's happening that night. I'm just going to get there when I get there. And I don't know. That's
take things as they come.
Yeah. Sometimes you miss the person that you were going to see. Sometimes it's disappointing, but it's like, well, I'm here.
Yeah.
And I paid the money.
Yeah.
It's like, and I'm going to buy your thing anyway. That sometimes that's, I'll try to do is like, oh shit, I missed it. Sometimes you can't. Sometimes you got things to do, but you still want to support. And I think most people are just
we all get that
there.
Right.
Or they're like, oh, great set, but he showed up after them.
Yeah.
Like, what are you going to explain to them? You showed up late, and then it's like, okay, then that just sounds like you're being a dick. And it's like, just be like, good job. Heard it was great, or you could say I heard it was great, right? I don't know.
Heard it was good. No, that's.
I'm not trying to say like.
I think showing support goes a long way.
I missed it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I should probably just be honest. But sometimes it's easier when it's loud and it's like you don't want to like caveat every conversation, but you still want to like you can tell that it was great, and of course it's been probably great because you're going to see him.
Everyone seemed to like it.
Yeah.
They were all on time. Yeah.
Or you just said energy here's crazy.
Yeah, great vibe.
Great vibe. Yeah, great vibe. Yeah, that's good. Great vibe.
Look, that's just become like the catch-all.
Good vibes.
Good vibes. Come to the show. There's going to be good vibes.
Do you have a bunch coming up?
Shows?
Yeah.
Not. Well, I have a few. I have a few solo shows. I'm playing at St. Kate
Oh, cool.
on October.
Nice.
Have you been there since it opened?
Yes.
I don't remember what it was before St. Kate.
It was the Intercontinental.
Sorry. I need to take that from you.
Yeah. Cool, I haven't been in there. I work right by it, so I drive by and like look in.
I'm doing. You guys never know the music review roulette?
Yeah.
Yeah.
With they're doing a live version of it.
Cool.
Of the podcast at St. Kate.
That's super cool.
Nice.
And it's me and Genevieve Hayward. You know her?
I'm not familiar.
She's pretty good.
Cool.
She's got a new album. She's a folk singer from. It's like folk rock, indie folk rock kind of.
Okay.
It's definitely it leans on country sentiments, at least in her singing.
Okay.
Her articulations.
Like,
and stuff.
oh, okay.
Like, yeah, like, but it's still got all those vibes kind of through together.
Great vibes.
The vibes.
Great
All the vibes.
The vibes in here.
But it's just gonna be like an in and around kind of thing, probably on the 3rd. But then on the 4th, I'm playing. It was just like all of a sudden 3. I don't know. I keep telling myself, don't do it, don't do more, don't do more. But these ones I kind of had to. But not then. After that, I have nothing. Although it was just released today, I'm going to be speaking at the Fall Exposition or Expo Zay or whatever it's called. Fall Experiment. That's what it's called. It's like a tech conference with
Cool.
Steve Aoki, tech culture.
Oh, nice.
Art thing. But then nothing, and then taking the break, and then doing a costume party on the October 25th.
Nice, I just saw a
sweet.
flyer for that. That looks cool.
Yeah, I'm excited about that.
Where's
That's
that?
with like Sunken Suns and.
The Sunken Sun. That's the one at the Public House I'm playing on the 4th. The Halloween one is at No Studios with OQ.
Yeah, yeah.
OQ. Because it's for Samhain essentially, which is just Halloween, but it's like Irish Halloween. It's what Halloween is based on, and it's just a costume contest with all the kind of sentiments, but it's through the lens of Samhain and the traditions and so I'm gonna be doing like an audio visual like experimental fairy tale storytelling thing.
Nice.
Before doing a music video release that they're in their screening room in No Studios. For I Don't Mind It. We're finishing up the shooting. It's fucking hilarious. I love it. It's all. We just need the final touches on it. A couple more. But yeah, then it's just a big costume party. You guys should come.
Yeah, what day is it?
October 25th.
Cool.
Yeah, it's gonna be.
Do you already have your costume? I don't have a costume for this year. I feel like I'm always so last minute. Like now I have to start thinking about it.
I have like my go-tos that I can always pull out behind in the back of the pants.
What do you have in
my back pocket?
In the back pocket.
What's your ace up the sleeve?
Up the back pocket.
In the back
Ace
of my
in the
pants.
pocket.
Put it in my ace pants pocket. Oh yeah, I don't know. What do you? I was thinking about doing. Well, I was grandma last year.
I love that. That's fantastic. We
I
should
saw
just go.
you last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That's right. It took me a second to recognize you.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie. Like being in that dress like made me feel so like free. And
Yeah.
It was great. It fit me perfectly. Nice. It was like
It looked great.
It was a Goodwill grab. My mom found
Yeah.
it. I was like,
Did you have your normal glasses on?
No.
Or did you have like Coke bottle?
I had contacts in. And I found like those, those cheap like librarian type glasses, but they weren't real, like prescription or anything. But that grandma's a good one. It's pretty. I don't know, but I was gonna be originally Grandma Franzia, which is
A wine-based grandma.
pretty much
A boxy wine-based grandma.
My buddy Hurley in college made up this Grandma Franzia costume, essentially, where he'd dress up as a grandma, but he would have a piece of rope like attached, duct taped to 2 bags of Franzia. and he put them as
It's like a catheter.
giant breasts.
It's like, all right.
He'd have the spigots come out of his like giant dress he was wearing, and then he would just feed people.
Wow.
From grandma's teeth.
The teats, yeah.
And yeah, it's pretty. It was a hit. It was a hit. I'll tell you what. At least in college, it was a hit. But at the end of the night, I remember I showed up to the party late. I had some other place I was at or something, and I'm like, oh, give me some of the red. He said one was red and one was white. And he's like, no, man, I really need you to get this white. Like, everyone's been drinking the red.
It's just like...
It's messing with my spine. I'm like, all right, I'll take a white, fine. Crisp white.
Grandma.
Scoliosis. But I don't know if I'll do that. Although there is free wine sampling at the event.
Is it a Thunderbird?
Yeah. So you guys were doing.
Yeah, I did a solo show that was at the VAR gallery recently. It was a Thunderbird thing.
Holy Pinto.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that flyer. I was like, Thunderbird wine is coming in, just like spreading money across musicians. Like,
I think
like do some shows.
Dude,
we're going to.
They sent us something.
We're gonna make this show anyway.
Yeah,
that's what I felt.
Thank you so much.
No, it actually is very helpful. It really is.
Yeah.
And companies should do more of that. Like, come in and just invest in some local music. It makes a huge.
Give us money.
Yeah, basically. Like, but we're gonna set these shows up, and they can make it. They can allow us to make these shows so much bigger and so much more. I don't know. Like, you can actually create memorable things when you have a budget.
Yeah.
You know,
right.
At least when you're given something to work with.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, not everyone is good. Some people might. You just be like, oh heck yeah, I'll just take this and just treat this like any other show. You know, but some people would probably use that money, and I mean that's what I'm doing, taking the money and just giving it to all the musicians that are playing. You know,
cool.
Like to make it happen, and then see, then I can divvy up the door the way I want, and hopefully double it, the whole thing.
Yeah.
To just like
that's awesome.
Spread it even more. You know.
That's for the Halloween show.
Yeah, the Halloween show. That's the idea.
Are they going to be mad if are you going to have to be Grandma Thunderbird for that night if you?
No, they only come in bottles.
They don't. Oh,
they're not bags.
Could they be persuaded for the night?
Maybe I should ask them. They're trying to get away from. I guess the actually I don't even know if I'm like not supposed to be saying. I did sign a contract.
Well, we're not live.
Oh, we're live.
No, I'm just kidding.
It's not like we're live or anything.
No, I thought this was the pre-interview.
No, I'm pretty. No, all the relationship that I've had with them has been great so far, and actually the wine's not that bad.
Cool.
So that's.
The old like Muppet man in me wanted to say it's not that good either. Yeah, that was probably the better one. You're the Waldorf from the Stadler. You get top billing.
I'll take either. True heroes.
Yeah.
Masters of the art form.
Truly.
So then you guys.
You have a show with us.
Oh yeah, on Saturday.
Yeah, this Saturday.
That's right. Shit.
Yeah, you're right after us.
That. I'm like,
I didn't. When you said that, I was like, yeah. I didn't even.
Totally, man. Yeah.
I didn't know that until someone.
Glenn told us.
Okay.
He was like,
yeah, because
I'm just staying on stage.
Keenan just messaged us, was like, looks like Glenn's pulling double duty.
Yeah.
And Glenn goes, oh shit, I told them that I couldn't make it that day. Like,
he's in. He's there all night. Yeah, the Fifth Street Fest.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
How many years has that been going? Is that?
I think it's relatively new.
Yeah.
I wonder when their 5th anniversary.
Fifth on fifth.
Fifth on fifth.
I think it's only in the 3rd or 4th year, so we haven't missed it as far as memory serves.
But we could ruin it.
Unless it's like the 30th.
Yeah.
Like, oh, cool.
35th.
I've gone every year.
I'm down there every year since 1927.
Grandma Franzia. She's leading the parade.
When it was 4th Street.
Grandma Thunderbird, time traveling, wine-based grandma.
Wine-based, boxy wine.
Disarms all the bombs.
Yes.
Moving it all together. Did we miss anything else?
And eats dog puke.
Oh, yeah, of course.
With barbecue. I
That
just
goes
had
without
barbecue
saying.
sauce.
You'll eat anything you put barbecue sauce on. So.
This wine's not half bad with barbecue sauce.
Okay. Nice.
If Thunderbird needs a copywriter.
A nice 50-50 blend.
I can only imagine that. I bet it wouldn't be Well,
It would be half
I was trying
bad.
to think. Yeah, if there's a little bit in there, and it could.
Give it a smoky
This is a mesquite wine. This is a
mesquite
wine.
merlot.
Oh, mesquite.
mesquite motherfucker.
Oh, mesquite. Someone has to have done that, right? I said that. Oh, mesquite. Motherfucker. Just talking to his meat.
About
Little John,
barbecue
does
chips.
he have he's got to have like a barbecue chip brand or something, you know?
Yeah, mesquite.
What would you have as like a brand, like Little John had like Crump Juice, like what would be like the Cullah, like if you could brand anything?
I'd probably do tea or kombucha. Well, like the
Cullahbucha, I like
I
it.
don't know. That someone said that to me. Cullahbucha.
It works.
It works, yeah.
Yeah.
I think
It starts the
How
same
is it?
sound.
Is it? Do you feel you take pride in the kombucha?
Cullahbucha.
I'm sorry.
I mean, I'm only on my like 4th and 5th batch. Like they're still.
Is it going well?
Just like Fifth Street.
Or are you like dumping them out? The 5th batch came immediately because you keep dumping them.
No, the 5th.
Needs more barbecue sauce. Get my
That's
people
the
up.
missing ingredient. I think we just
That's what your assistant's doing right now. They're not doing the podcast.
Yeah, right.
just broke it wide open.
I need some mesquite in my. Yep, Sweet Baby Ray's. Cullahbucha.
That's you. Yeah. Then you're not like
Dip your
you already have
chicken in
their
your-
distribution.
In your kombucha.
I mean, there's probably ways to infuse probiotics into dipping sauces. Has someone ever done it before? I feel like. Yogurt.
Yeah, that's basically a dipping sauce.
Yeah.
I dip just like granola bars in there.
Dip spoons in it.
Yeah, that too.
Pretty much exclusively.
Put it in my mouth.
Yeah. Oatmeal fashioned.
Is there CBD
Yogurt.
CBD sauce? That's got to be a thing.
I'm sure that's a thing, right? That's everything. CBD's in everything nowadays.
Yeah.
I signed up for, or no, I think I bought weed in California legally, of course.
Congratulations.
Yeah, because it's legal there. And wherever store I bought it, they were trying to be like the genius bar of Apple. And you go
Oh
in
yeah,
and
is it like
all these-
Mad? What is it?
MedMen.
MedMen. It is MedMen,
Yeah.
It was. I mean, we did. Maybe it was just the neighborhood we were in, because it was like downtown LA.
Yeah.
And it was not. It was so crazy. There were so many workers there. and
I've been
they're
in
all
there.
breathing over your neck.
Yeah, it's like
just like.
it's a little too much, but I like that it's all
Maybe
very
because
like.
it's like super downtown. They want people to steal things or something. Maybe
Right.
I don't know. All the stuff was all out there.
I think they get commission or something because like I
that,
felt like
maybe? Yeah.
the salesman when I was there was like they were aggressive.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's just like a
Maybe it's just because we're
keep your job thing.
Like
in
it
LA, I don't
wasn't
know.
legal. Do you want
Yeah.
weed?
This shit sells itself. Like what?
Yeah, exactly. No one's coming in there being like, on second thought, I'm not gonna get any weed.
I didn't.
Okay.
I exclusively wanted like CBD.
Right.
I
But
like smoking weed is never really like it always like I wish it was good for me, but it like gives me anxiety and gives me panic attacks. But so I've been really intrigued by like it becoming legalized and more like measured. You know what you're getting, like
Right,
the
exactly. You know
like
what
CBD
kind
to
of weed you're
THC
getting.
ratio and like the milligrams and everything.
Chill,
Like
but you're smoking this like thing that's supposed to make you go like climb a mountain.
Smoking Red Bull.
right, but I feel like when you're growing up, like if you don't get really into weed, people don't tell you like there's
Right.
differences like indica, sativa. And like you don't, and then there's like you don't measure how much you're smoking. Really, I feel like
Right.
like you just
Yeah,
kind
you
of
don't know
do
how-
what everyone else is doing. Like it's not like I'm
what
going to take
strain it
10
is.
milligrams and chill. Like, and I think like I was microdosing when I was out in LA, and that like I really liked that. So I was able to just like I knew how much was like
THC
10 milligrams
or
and
CBD
THC and CBD.
combo.
My friend left behind some. He's flying back to Milwaukee, and he couldn't take it with him, so he left behind like gummies and a bunch of joints. And I gave the joints away, but
bet all the
I kept the
California people do that. All these
gummies.
people come and they're just like, well, we can't bring it with us.
Yeah.
Well, you get to keep it.
Right.
Nice.
Yeah.
More often.
Yeah. And at first I
Weed
didn't
for
like.
life.
I didn't think I was gonna like take any of it, but I started just like taking like little slivers at a time. So it was like okay, like this is literally like
That's all you're supposed
1
to do.
milligram,
Anything,
5
I
milligrams.
think, Like
Ease into it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I feel like that's what
Dip your toes.
That's what like Dare should have been all that time, like all that
Right.
all that
They were
like
like-
stigmatizing of it should have just been like you know what, like
Just burn
just
holes
be
in
a
your
little
brain.
bit more responsible about
Say
it.
no
Like
to drugs in large quantities.
start
Find
small.
your limits.
Yeah. It really, like, I really think that, like,
Reagan is
stigma
full of
culture didn't
shit.
work. And like weed of all things, like now with what we know now, to like focus so much on that is like just it was such a waste of time and energy. And like,
no, your people are more likely to be drug addicts if they took Dare. That's a real statistic. Yeah, that because it bred
they hate
so much
authority.
Yeah, it bred so much mistrust.
they took the Dare.
Exactly, man.
The truth or dare of truth
really
of
was
dare
like,
is.
I dare you.
Yeah.
I dare you.
Well, you know, with that stuff, they're always
Take
trying
the
to make it
drugs.
cool. Like the whole like truth campaign in the '90s
I never
was.
even thought about it. That's wow.
You-
What a
you took the
terrible
Dare.
program.
Yeah. But wait, was the
It
Dare
was
to?
effective for alcohol for me, at least for my education of like really seeing we saw a bunch of videos and it scared the crap out of me, and that was maybe more because that's less stigmatized in a lot of ways.
Oh, it's like
Wisconsin?
celebrated. It's like glorified
Yeah,
in our
exactly.
culture. Like I work at a brewery.
It's our weed.
Yeah. It's true.
Everyone's doing it.
It's our water.
Even if it destroys your stomach,
Yeah.
you should drink it every day.
Yeah, I think I always go to alcohol as like the example of like why weed should be legal and how to regulate it. Like how to loosely regulate it, because I think like it's just crazy to me how much like how weed is stigmatized.
What are microbreweries called? What they're micro weedereries?
Weeders?
I don't know.
I can get down with that.
Cannabis, micro cannabis.
I like that one.
Microcant. I can get down with it. I just
The reason I brought up the med men, right?
Yeah.
Because I got an email from them. I'm on their mailing list now, and it's just so annoying. I've unsubscribed like twice. It's like I'm probably
they keep forgetting because they're too high.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or they sold it to like 10 people. That's more likely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so then now all these email lists, and so I got this one about a CBD expo. I don't even live in California. It's like, why are you sending me these things? And
Should have been like, I'll play it.
dude, the whole email was the same advertisement over and over and over and over, and then like a little bit of different information, and then again, like it was just
Like if you were super high, that would be super effective though. If it was like,
do you know where to click?
what did I just read?
Click
Oh,
here.
what's
You can
this?
click here,
Oh,
or
what's this? Oh, what's this?
In case you forgot,
It's a CBD expo.
Yeah.
but it's a CBD expo.
It's just,
Hey, a CBD expo. Oh, CBD expo. Just works.
It works every time.
I'm all for it. I want Wisconsin to.
A medical bill was introduced.
Catch up.
Or whatever. That's great. Yeah. Wow.
That's like a step that some states were doing like 15 years ago.
Yeah, it's
like
crazy,
more
man.
than that
It's
probably.
so crazy.
Like
I've talked to people who say that they've in the healthcare industry that they know doctors that have left Wisconsin because they can't do research and they can't prescribe what they want to their like.
Wisconsin's pretty
Yeah,
far
well,
behind on some
crazy,
stuff.
man.
Yeah, I mean, if you know, it's
Crazy.
you look at like there's the opioid crisis and weed is just like it's prescribed medicinally versus alcohol, which is like a poison. Like no doctor's ever going to prescribe you that, and yet like one is legal and one
They
is
used to prescribe,
illegal.
but
Well,
that's because
right.
people wanted to get drunk.
Right. Prescribe you the bottle with 3 X's on it and just
But it's some good stuff. Probably not though.
probably not
Actually,
good.
no. I think a lot of those were like imported or like specialty. Like the people who That's part of the whole thing is that their prohibition. At least there's a lot of actors behind it that were actually involved in the alcohol business. That they were able to get exclusive contracts with the government and the FDA and stuff to make the alcohol for these things. So it was like the people have what the chance of killing all your competition and you having a solid clientele for
Right.
or take that, and when you see the whole movement going towards that way, like I could see I could see how someone would jump on that.
Yeah, Al Capone was really like Robin Hood then.
Kinda. I mean, it's just all that's what kind of what the black market is. It's like in Scarface when he's yelling at the TV, he's like, "You created me, you created me. Like I only exist because of you."
Right.
Like
he's just fitting like a market need.
Exactly.
Yeah. He's
the celebrated rugged individual that America wants. Is these people.
right. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps with
made an empire.
mounds of cocaine and I think that's why we like those. Like we love those like Walter Whites and Scarfaces and like the kind of the almost like the everyman underdog, at least with like Walter White.
For sure.
You gonna go see the movie?
Yeah, that movie's coming out. El Camino.
The Oriental.
I don't know anything about it though.
Me neither.
I kind of like it that way. I'm down. I'm just gonna go see it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think is it heavily on Jesse.
It looks like Jesse, yeah.
Yeah, that's what it seems like.
I only saw
pre?
one headline with one picture, so it's 100% Jesse as far as I know.
Yeah. Is it pre or post
No idea.
Breaking Bad? No?
Just saw the name and that it's going to be playing here. And that's enough for me.
All right,
But
let's
all I know
go.
is I think he's actually had smoked meth for the role, so he's totally methed out in at least the first half of it.
That is a commitment to the method actor. Oh man,
He's methed out. Man.
I'll see myself out.
No, that was a joke. I'm pretty sure he's pretty straight edge, actually, as a guy. Dude, he was in an Everlast music video.
Was it What It's Like?
Yeah.
I just guessed it's the only Everlast song I know. I think
he's the main guy in that.
he was the one who
follows him and this girl.
Huh.
Or wait,
was he the man at the liquor store? No, it was.
Maybe it's a different.
There's a lot of characters in that. I know. I actually really like that song. There's the guy who gets his girlfriend pregnant and like leaves.
Does he look like?
I don't know. I never saw. I don't think I ever saw the video. I didn't have like MTV or anything in the '90s.
Yeah, just strictly on the
Man at
lyrics.
the liquor store and the girl who gets an abortion, right?
Yeah.
And then the guy sells drugs.
Mm-hmm.
He catches some static walking through the door. That guy is that the same?
No,
is that the first
that's
guy?
the girl.
The
Going
guy
into
is
the
the one getting fat stacks.
Yeah.
Some.
I feel like I'm like blanking on all of it right now, but if you put it on, I could do the whole. Yeah.
Moving the alley with drugs. That's what it is.
It was a Dare sponsored.
Dude, I love Everlast, man.
Yeah.
House
He was.
of Pain.
Yeah, I was gonna say he was in another group.
And his
I always
first
forget
couple
that.
albums that he made solo were just really like it was quintessential 90s, like combining these acoustic guitar with these break beats and like really doing rap and singing at the same time, like blending those two worlds together.
Yeah.
Like he totally embodied that and bringing the white man blues into it,
Yeah,
And he also had that Irish. He's from, what is he from? New York or Boston or something.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know much about him. My boss told me recently that he was in House of Pain.
Yeah.
Like, 'cause I think I called like Everlast like a one-hit wonder or something because I only knew like what it's like. And yeah, he told me that he had some other like songs that just even hits within the 90s, like in his solo career that I didn't even know were him. Like, I think he played me like one or two of the other songs, and I was like, oh shit, that's Everlast. And then like, and he was in House of Pain. I was like, I'm sorry, I was wrong about Everlast. Everlast is a legend.
Yeah.
He will last forever. I feel like he sort of gets like a weird label, sort of like how like Smash Mouth and stuff is, where they just kind of became, because they had that one hit. Although Smash Mouth had several hits as well.
Walking on the Sun and All Star.
And they sort of just get that like they were the sound of that era, and now it's like, oh, that's old, so it's like
I think
funny. It represented a certain very specific time,
right?
And we're past that, so now like looking back at it, it's like, can you believe we listen to music like that?
I don't think he got as like quite as ubiquitous as like, because All Star, like you couldn't get away from that song.
Well, All Star was in
House of, I don't know, man.
Oh no, I'm thinking of the song that was on
Around.
Shrek.
Jump Around is literally a stadium anthem.
Yeah.
Right, but like that wasn't a solo thing for him.
Oh, so yeah.
I think, and also like
What It's
he's
Like
just
is probably the biggest one. I mean, he might have had. I know there's another song called Boom Shalak Lock Boom. No, but that was House of Pain.
I think he just like doesn't have that novelty factor of Smash Mouth. Like,
yeah, well,
Smash Mouth is kind of, they're like memes and like it's just
once you're in Shrek.
Yeah, that's true. That probably is what transitioned.
No, I think so. Like, I mean, they had that great album right around the time they made Shrek, and they were part of Shrek, and like I saw Smash Mouth 2 summers ago at Summerfest. They were on.
Was it great? I've never seen that.
Mean, it wasn't bad.
Did you get the impression that like
there was more,
they're like self-aware,
it was harder than like they were like
heavier?
Yeah, like they were playing more punk rock-ish.
Probably from being like sick of like playing those songs for so long. I feel like that would
Frosted Tips only last so long.
Yeah,
Ice Cold Tips.
Man, Walking on the Sun, that fucking riff nails, dude. The
like Wurlitzer.
Is that it?
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm doing it like Blue from Blue's Clues.
Yeah, I mean, might as well. I don't know if YouTube flags for singing things. I wonder. I've always wondered that. I always end up singing songs. And
They might want the money more than a lot of people. They're
well, it's just the algorithms. They hear it and they'll just
shit
be like, oh, this is someone else's.
Maybe I butchered it well enough to keep us off the radar.
I'm curious. I'm generally curious.
You want to test it? That's kind of like testing accuracy for us.
Karaoke and see when they pull it eventually.
Because I've done it where I've had videos playing. Like, I'll just play a video on my stream and then it'll tell me right away, like, we saw some copyright content on this thing. Like, your shit's gonna be demonetized now.
Damn.
It's like, wow, just like that.
As an artist, do you like that? Like, do you appreciate that? Because I bet there's a moment where you're like, fuck, but also like you make music, so do you like?
I think it could be a little more. I think YouTube is on purposefully like, and a lot of these streaming services and like hosting platforms and stuff, they really, it's like, oh, here's all this money, but like we have these.
What?
We have all these, with the advertisements,
right.
Like we have these weird back channels of quantifying streams and views and what this is worth and what all this stuff is, and there's so much. I think a lot of inequality in what's going on. I'm sure there's rhymes and reasons for all that stuff, but it's not artist centered. It's
definitely not. Right,
advertiser centered.
Right,
and. I think I'm very skeptical of a lot of, like, you guys remember DRM, which digital rights, they used to, when iTunes came out, it was all DRM, which was these audio files would be locked down, essentially, that you could only use it with your iTunes for like, and it would expire in a week or something. And they fully embraced
this MP3 will self-destruct.
Basically, basically. And so for a while, but it was super illegal, I think, like, or not, maybe it's not like illegal, but it was not going to last, and there's a huge fight against it, and all this digital rights stuff is crazy, and intellectual property with people's music. I mean, I release all my shit for free, and anyone can monetize my music on YouTube if they want, or on podcasts or whatever. So I have a different perspective than most people when it comes to that, but I could understand. I don't have issues with don't hate the player, hate the game. It's like usually it's not an artist that's going to be like, it's their label or whoever owns the publishing rights. Like, they're the ones exploiting it. They're the ones that want that. And sometimes I think it's getting better, but there's still a lot of ways to be gone with that. I feel like with YouTube. I could understand, like, if someone's just uploading the video again and monetizing it and making money. That's clearly against, whatever, however that was licensed. But I just encourage people to just license their stuff with free licenses to begin with, I think. But it's tough. It's a whole industry change.
You're a big proponent of, like, just getting it out there, right? Like, getting the music out there and letting people do what they want with it. Yeah,
I want to just remove all the barriers between the artist and the listener, like, as much as I can. That's why I think, like, things like DRM and all these weird, like, rules and laws and stuff that's gonna, like, I understand there's protections, but those protections weren't put in by musicians. All these things are like,
we don't know anything about money. We need people to, like, do it for us.
Industry that has, like, there's like 5 different types of rights in a song. Like, you have there's like sync rights, the mechanical rights, the master recording rights, the publishing rights, and then there's probably other ones too. Like, it's just complicated. You need lawyers to, like, be actually on top of all that stuff, and you have to like juggle all these different things, and it's, entire industries have been made off of the exploitation of music, and so for profit, so it's, I mean, it's a crazy industry in a lot of ways, I would imagine, but I don't pretend to, like, know it from the inside out or anything. I'm just kind of been on the outskirts and lived in that little, like, free music world.
Has there been any use of your music so far where you, like, really didn't agree with, like, the product or, like, something about the video where you're just like,
usually I don't like it when people just don't give me credit. That's the only thing that really bothers me, usually. But I haven't, no, like, Nazi people have used my video yet. Like, there's people that I disagree with politically that use it, but it's not it wasn't hateful, so it's like, if hateful would be probably the line for me. And I don't have any stipulation, though, in my license, technically.
Like you don't have like
free
recourse,
speech, man. You know, I don't know, like,
Yeah.
but at the same time,
You've never had to be like, please don't use my music.
yeah, I haven't been like
For hate.
It hasn't been at a Donald Trump rally or anything.
Yeah.
Like, or you know,
It was like when Paul Ryan said that Rage Against the Machine was his favorite band, and they were like, we don't like it.
yeah. You are the machine that we rage against.
Yeah, exactly.
Paul Ryan said
You
that
are
Rage
the
Against the Machine. He must not have been listening.
I feel like that happens a
Those
lot.
guys
Like,
He's like, killing in the name of.
didn't that happened with Willie Nelson? Didn't it? Like apparently
yeah.
he's like on the left side of things,
Bruce
and
Springsteen. Willie.
Yeah, a lot of
He's
those-
an activist.
right. And then like someone will use his music like I feel like maybe it was
Neil
Trump
Young,
with
too.
yeah, and then they find out
Yeah.
like I just kind of love that. I don't know. That's
No, that's always you feel some sense of justice, a
Right.
little bit, you know. But chances are they can just I don't know. I'm sure they could file some sort of. I don't know that I need to find a lawyer that can. But it's just like lawyers are expensive. I remember for this last album, I had to like catalog all my samples and like find the licenses for all of them, and because this vinyl pressing company Gotta Groove, they did a great job.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we went through them
We
too.
did, yeah.
They're
They did?
fantastic.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
They were amazing, and they actually like kind of held my hand through the whole thing. And I was like,
Yeah, same.
and they were like, yeah, you need to. Like, he's told me, he said, usually lawyers, prepare this stuff, and I'm like, well, I only raised enough money. For
like,
to email you.
I didn't know I needed a lawyer to press vinyl.
I know, right? You're using the samples, and like you have a legit company that wants to cover their ass in every possible way in that world. Because
Yeah.
I could imagine, you get one of these things takes off, and they print 1,000 vinyl for someone, and however much money that's going to cost, crazy amount, I'm sure, and. That's a big investment, and they can get, like I'm sure that I'm sure you could sign things away, but from my understanding, chances are, and from what I know, certain with that world is that people there's no gray areas. It's all black and white. It's like either you have this license or you don't.
Yeah.
And if you don't, they take it.
If they don't, it's like you got to get rid of it then, because we can't take that risk.
Yeah.
So, and it's too bad because this next album I'm like dove back into I'm like trying to make sure I get the right samples, because last year luckily I did. I only had a couple songs with samples, and they were all like I had them all.
Like you cleared them?
There was one I actually had to email the people and ask permission. It was this, I never even knew this existed, radio collages, where people will take radio shows like from all over throughout time and different things, and then they'll like blend the radio shows together, and they make collages out of them.
Interesting.
It's really interesting. I didn't even know it was that when I literally searched Spectacular because the album was called Spectacular. Yeah. I literally searched that, and I found one that was a radio mashup, and there was this like little trippy part where they were like fading in from one to the other of this this old radio show that was also Creative Commons, but they were releasing it under this Creative Commons certain license that couldn't be exploited for profit. So I had to ask for permission to remove that thing, and they said yeah. I had the email, so I literally just gave the Gotta Groove that email, and they said it was fine.
Okay.
So
they're like, this will hold up.
So how did they know? How did they know that you even used a sample? Well, because of that. But like, if you use one,
beginning, like the first song of on that album is like all like not all samples, but it's clearly like an old radio show.
Right. But like, if it was like music though, that's obviously a little more ambiguous.
Yeah. Then you just have to be honest with it.
Yeah.
If
it's just gonna bite you if you aren't, I guess. So.
I mean.
Maybe
there's a lot of different schools of thought on that. Like, I've heard it both ways. So, just don't. It can't be just blatantly obvious. I think that's usually the thing, because someone can accuse you
like Vanilla Ice.
Yeah.
Like Under Pressure.
Like someone can accuse you, and it can be so blatantly obvious, right? I mean, now all these lawsuits that are happening nowadays, these big high profile, seem like utter nonsense. These people are getting these incredible like sums of money for claiming that these people are copying, like, oh, you used a minor, you went up and down
a minor scale.
That's all. But they did it just like that.
You can't own the scale.
Yeah, you can't own these timbres. Like I don't know. From my understanding, a lot of this, like, there are legitimate ones, and there's been a lot of not so legitimate.
I feel like a lot of that would be like dependent on how musically knowledgeable like the people involved in the case are. Like if there's like a judge and they don't know anything about music, like they're gonna be like, well, it does sound like it. Like
it's not a jury of your peers if you're a musician.
Right.
Right. Exactly.
And you have just
some
any
people
person
convincing them this crazy stuff.
Can you imagine a jury of musician peers? Like
they'd all
everyone
be
would
late.
be late. It's almost late coming here.
Couple of Grandma Franzias.
It's like, wait, so this is guaranteed, right?
We get paid for this, right?
Court starts at 8. It's actually starting at 9.
Doors at 7:30. Court at 8.
So where should I put my deliberating skills?
When's load in for deliberation?
Evidence loaded.
You guys ever,
Sound check.
you guys haven't ever used well, you use like pads and like electric kits and stuff, but I'm trying to think through your songs and I don't remember too many samples. It's all
I don't think we ever have used a sample. The one time that I wanted to use one, you know what I'm talking about already?
Is it Roseanne?
Yeah, I wanted. So you know at the end of the Roseanne theme song, like they're playing poker and they're going around the table. It's way too iconic. Yeah. They go around the table and they're playing poker throughout like the intro, and you see all the different characters, and then at the end of it, like Roseanne wins the poker game, and she like pulls all the chips towards herself, and then she like lets out this cackle, and it's
the cackle.
I wanted to sample the cackle for the very end of one of our songs on our EP called Fast Food, and we recorded with Shane Hostetler at Howell Street, and he was just like, they're never going to clear that. Like, and like I really
waste your time.
Yeah, I really felt like they would.
You could duplicate, like, so like what someone has told me is that you can either try to replicate it as best you can, or you modify it. So like if you made it indistinguishable from the original one, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I should have just made the
like
Facebook post like who has the most like Roseanne like cackle. Of
someone could technically just take that, speed it back up again, and be like, "There's the
What if she had trademarked like the cackle?
Are getting good
like the exact like that was like 6 cackles. That was.
It was different every season. It was a very specific.
It was, but yeah, no, that wasn't. You're right. That I literally looked through different
like
YouTube videos of Roseanne intro to get like the exact one that I had in my head.
So she cackled differently for each season.
I think so. Yeah. Oh, wow. It got more half-hearted.
I mean,
as it went on.
Roseanne's a very interesting person.
Yeah. Best/worst national anthem rendition of all time.
She sang the national anthem.
Oh, yeah. You're unfamiliar? You should check it out.
Wow, I will check that out.
And then you should just move on to something else.
Yeah, and sample it.
That's a weird thing, sampling. I sampled a YouTube video once. I don't know like how that's what that even is. That was years ago. But it was just someone giving a tutorial on upright bass, and I just took a little thing of them just noodling around. So it was like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think like IP law is it's like having to evolve with that stuff.
Yeah, it's all way behind, man, and I don't know I grew up listening to sample based music. Like that was some of my favorite songs of all time. It's like all the iconic songs that I love growing up. So it's just crazy to me, like now that it's changed. So I just have to be careful, I think, with what you sample, and and changing it up. And sometimes, it's better to just not say anything about it,
right?
Or just be like, that was me. Yeah.
I sampled myself.
That was me.
We have a friend Sahan who's big into sampling, and I don't want to like give anything away or like get him into trouble or anything, but like. He for sure is like he will only do like I think he goes on websites to find out if something's ever been sampled before, so he'll only do ones that have like never been touched. If like it's remotely recognizable to the average person, he won't touch it. Like so he like goes like bargain bin hunting, and I've gone with him before, and like we'll go through like every single vinyl in like the dollar bin, and like find something, and he's like that's the one, like tough. Weird cover, like never heard of it, this is what I'm sampling. Like I
have so many of those vinyls of just like old fairy tales and folk tales and like different. I have this one that's The Five Senses, and it's like this whole like kids vinyl about teaching you about what your senses are. And so I have this awesome recording of like a sense of sound and all that stuff, all the like these, it's like it was talking about the difference of sound at night and day.
Ooh, I love that actually. That sounds cool.
But I don't know I have no idea what this. You look at some of these old recordings and stuff, and they don't have any like copyright stuff on it, or like,
right.
Or it's
well,
like
I bet with a lot of those stories
doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
And
somebody owns it, but
probably,
how do you find where?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like I don't have a lawyer in that game, or like someone who can be like has access to all these things and can. Because everyone says, "Well, I've heard that before." Be like, "Well, why did you just ask permission?" It's like, what do you mean, ask permission?
I asked Roseanne. All right.
Yeah,
excuse me, Mr. Capital
She was
Records?
like, not the third season laugh.
You can have any of them other than season 3.
That one's Roseanne's. Your podcast just got shut down.
It could trigger the cackle. That cackle is too close. No, I've seen that on YouTube videos with they slow it down.
Oh yeah.
They slow down the audio and the video so that it doesn't get caught.
Do you compensate then? Do you turn it up to like 1.5 and you got it right? Like
I bet you people do that though. But I wonder. I think the algorithms are getting smarter now too, to be able to stretch.
It disables it at that time.
To stretch the stuff like quickly and be able to do the same processing, but
right. Well, yeah, that's one thing. Like as good as technology gets to prevent piracy, so too does it grow to find the holes, and like it's always one step ahead. I think there's so many people out there who are dedicated to shit like that.
I wonder what it's going to be like, because it seems like people are getting screwed on the streaming anyway to a degree. Like if you're using the traditional models of things, like I don't know, it seems like people are getting screwed on a lot of things.
What's the smallest check you've ever gotten from like Spotify or like
like a cent?
Yeah,
probably. When I first a cent.
Did you cash it? Or do like deposit it or like?
Well, I waited to get more. And then,
waiting for that dollar.
Yeah, waiting for. Although the first check I ever got for music was one British pound.
Nice. Was that low to the
just like
higher or lower to the dollar at the time?
Yeah, it was in an envelope and a check, and it was because it was just in order for a contract to be completed, they have to just like have some transfer of money. So it was just like this it was part of the signing of it was basically just them giving me a check for a pound.
Like that made it official as
that made it official.
Yeah.
At least I don't know, but it was definitely an illegal thing anyway because I was 16 at the time. So well, I don't know if it was illegal, but it was maybe not
semi-legal.
Maybe legal for them. Yeah,
it was whatever. Maybe it was fine. I don't know British law.
Do you have the pound still?
I should have. Like in retrospect, I should have just kept it and like framed it, or something. But I wanted to cash it, so I was like,
right.
Because I know that's more than $1. Like the pound has been consistently, usually more than the dollar. And so and it was like probably like $2 or something. But I went to the bank and I'm like, I want to deposit this, and they're like, well, after the processing fees, it's really only gonna be like 30 cents.
You're like, hell yeah, give me my 30 cents.
I was like,
give me my money.
I'm gonna buy a fruity. That's what I don't know what age you're at. I don't know. You said 16. I just picked
strawberry
fruities? Like I don't know.
Fruity.
They're like Tootsie Rolls, but they're fruits. They're like fruit flavored and stuff.
Yeah, I love those.
I feel like when
they're like blue and red and green.
Yeah, when I was a kid, there
ones?
was a candy store by my school that like totally changed my concept of the value of money, because there were so many like penny candies and stuff. So like where other people would see like a dime, I would see like 10 fruities.
Yep. Are you talking about the one on Clement in Oklahoma?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. How are you doing on time?
Like kings.
We're about an hour and 20 minutes in.
How long? Oh shit! How long do these go? How long do people watch?
Well,
I guess I can tune in and out, right?
There,
we're just
up there.
We're just in the browsers somewhere,
and then
somewhere in the feed.
Release an audio version of it for the people on Spreaker or Google Podcasts or Apple Podcasts.
Do you have a Patreon?
Spotify Podcast. I do have a Patreon.
I thought so. Is that what you've done? Like your album stuff through, like you always have like the rewards and stuff, right? For like being
they're like different. I'm in the process of like figuring with this new album. I'm doing Kickstarters, but also the Patreon. So the Patreon I'm setting up a membership. I have a new site that I'm building, and it's all the core is finally built, and everything's there. All my albums and all these Cullahcasts and stuff are all in this nice brain that I've made for it. But I'm changing things to also have like people be able to just like log in to my site, and then they'll be able to access. And they can kind of do that already now with the Patreon. They just log in with their Patreon, and then they access the secret stash, is what it's called. And they can get album previews, and like they can listen to demos and stuff of the album as it's being released.
Do you already have stuff up for your next one?
I have one video up of I was writing a song, which I'm really happy about so far. I haven't been able to get a good recording of it because it's just like this. I've just been like pounding my head against it, and it's getting better each time. Like it's starting to form, but it's been this like I don't think I can record it here. I think I have to go somewhere else.
Yeah,
and record
like big.
I don't know. I have some land up north. My dad has some land up north, and I usually go up there to like just get away from everything. And it's a folk song. It's like an Irish folk song kind of. Okay. It's about a guy in denial essentially, and has a different understanding of this relationship with this person he had this amazing, some of the best times of his life, and it's kind of coming to grips with the fact that this other person doesn't see it the same way, and then he starts to like be in denial, like, oh, you must. The whole idea is about forgetting. You're like, oh, you must have forgotten how awesome it was.
Right.
You must have forgotten. Yeah. He's just in total denial, and at the end, he starts to blame himself. He's like, I must have. It's my fault. I forgot to tell you that this is important. I forgot. It's all about forgetting. And
yeah.
It's about a boat. So like talks about it all through the lens of being out at sea on a boat. I was just reading a bunch of Oscar Wilde stuff, and I was like looking for some inspiration, and there was something about the fair winds blow here. We're in the boat of this, and I was like, oh sweet, all right,
we got something here.
We got here some fair winds.
All right, so you're literary sampling.
I mean, yeah, the literally sampling.
Literally sampling literary literature.
Literally sampling literature.
Just a little.
No, I mean, I think people have done it from the beginning of time. That's what's crazy about this.
There's only so many stories.
Sampling is only crazy because it's like a physical recording of something is then being repurposed.
Right. Like, if we couldn't record, there would be no like.
Right. Yeah. It's all because of recording.
Nothing to sell, nothing.
People's intellectual property of these recording. The property of these recordings, but with ideas and concepts and words, and it's like that's why it's really scary that people are trying to like copyright scales and like specific rhythms.
With 12 songs.
Yeah, exactly. That's the song monopoly. But then I don't know. You can't. I just don't think you can. You can't. Well, someone I forget what it is. There are no new ideas, that kind of. I think that's really true. Like I just regurgitate all the music that I listen to and all the concepts and theories. Maybe I do it in a unique way because I have my own fingerprint and I have I have a different expression from everyone else. So it's different.
Yeah.
And my voice is unique. Like everyone's voice is uniquely their own, and they act like literally and in terms of like how you express yourself through any way in art. But
yeah, I don't think you're ever totally creating in a vacuum. I don't think anyone does that. I think I don't know. Yeah.
If you had like a feral child and they like drawing a Picasso and you're like, what the fuck? Man with his guitar, and then I'd be like, you've never seen a person. So I dreamed this. He's like, I don't know.
How did you draw a perfect Campbell's soup can? You've never even
missed opportunity in the Truman Show.
Yeah. Wait, didn't they do?
A film studio owned a child. They could have just made him feral.
Yeah, that would.
Starring Will Ferrell.
Yep.
We got it. That's being sold. Please steal that from us and make it.
Feral Will, I would say.
Yeah. Are you pretty far along on the album? The next one?
Yeah, I'm about halfway there.
Fuck, man.
So I mean, there's a bunch of songs that I have all the ideas. Some of them, like 3 or 4 that I have all the parts for, and most of them are recorded. but
like vocals too.
So some of the vocals are solid, some of them are shaky. It's like they're written, but I need to like really hone in and get the right feel and the right. That's the hardest part for a lot of my stuff. It's like it could always be better.
Right.
And it always ends up being like the first one you do it. It's always
right. You always come back to that.
Yeah.
Glenn has a story about that. In case he's ever on the Cullahcast, I'm not going to take his story from him because it's such a good story and I love the way he tells it. But it's basically about I can't remember what artist it is, but it's like a famous composer that they found like after he had died, they found like that he was working on a piece like hundreds and hundreds of revisions, and like the one on the top was like exactly the same as the original. Like he had like worked so long to like refine this work of art, and then he eventually like just accidentally found his way back to the beginning or something.
Wow.
I'm probably butchering the story,
because it's like in that moment, that's how you can't change that. It's all those like.
Well, that's what creates like that spark, because we're always looking for that. I think like that thing that goes like ooh, like that. Like has a.
That's why I've been able to do that, because I'm like pretty solo with the work that I do. It's all in this room basically now, and you just can't duplicate that moment when that song was, because my recording process is my writing process. So when I'm writing, I'm recording at the same time. So sometimes things just happen and they're there, and when I try to go back to it, I'm just beating a dead horse.
Yeah.
And it's not flowing. It's not going, because I'm always
overthinking it. Then
I want to go back to that thing. It's like, well, I can never duplicate it. So like, I feel like now I'm getting to a point where I'll do a demo, but then I have to like bring it to a different spot, maybe with a different ensemble, and make a new song.
Yeah,
it's new. Like,
I feel like
I can't think of it as the same song.
I super agree with that. I feel like the initial like capturing of like an emotion or a feeling is how like you get that nucleus of a song, and then so much of what you're doing after that is like making it more like sort of like technically musical. You're just kind of giving it the parts that it needs to like reach a certain length, or like you start to filter it through like the wrong things, and you like get away from like what sparked its existence in the first place, which is usually something, at least for me, like very simple.
Yeah,
it's just like the right combination of like even just like one chord and one little like vocal inflection or something, or just like it's always like a very small like sliver of an idea that really like
just takes a sound and turns it into a song.
Yeah, I really think it's about that, like ooh, like yeah, and then you try to keep riding that wave, and like it's so hard not to overthink it, because I think you immediately start to go like, you start to worry. I don't know if you do this, but whenever I write something that I really like, I'm like, oh man, like you try to fight it off, but then it starts to be like, okay, what is it? You know, like what's the vibe? What's the genre? Am I stealing from something? Is it derivative?
You think
like
about all that?
I try not to, but like those things start to like fight their way in.
I don't think about any of that.
Oh man, usually, I wish I did.
Maybe there's I'm sure there are some subconscious thoughts that I have, but usually I try to just be completely in the flow and be in a reactive state where I'm like, this. You said like the sound makes the song. Like I was telling that to someone today when I was talking about writer. They're like, writers. Do you ever have writer's block? I'm like, well, no, not really. Like some days are a bit worse. Like some days I can't. It's not flowing, but that's just some days. Like, but some days it is. And it's like I've done it where I've had some of my favorite songs recorded in 3 or 4 hours, and boom, that's done. I don't know what else to do to it. Maybe just like polish up the mix a little bit.
Right.
But that's about it. Like it's an amazing feeling, and usually it's reactive. Like I'll find something, or it's like I'll try something new. That's usually what happens.
Yeah.
Try a new sound, or like make my guitar an open D. All of a sudden, boom! Like this drop D cracks, and it's just like, oh heck yeah! Like this is a great sound, and then all of a sudden I find one melody, and there it is. Mm-hmm. And then you just run with it.
Right.
And then once you run with that, then you can come up with a second melody, and then there's your chorus.
Right.
Boom, done. And you have a whole fucking song. You know, and
open tuning is tricky though, because if you go in that you like really like, and you got to bring like another guitar to shows.
All the comrades hate, like I'm so slow with moving between instruments and just changing tunings. I like want to be the guy that's talking while I'm tuning, but I'm not that good at it yet.
I don't do that either. I never talk while I tune. I literally say like, I tell Andy I'm going to tune, which is I'm basically like, please speak.
That's what we do now. Like, a couple times I've done that where I'm just like, I'm there. So, how's everybody doing? It's like
Yeah.
like I can barely remember my words and play a new instrument sometimes.
Yeah.
I switched to some of my songs on keyboard, then wasn't able to make a couple gigs. I'm like, I want to get my keyboard chops up. I'm gonna play some keyboard and
Level it up.
Yeah, well, exactly. Just get more reps on it. And playing some of those songs that I played so many times on the guitar, all of a sudden I'm forgetting the words because it's just like my brain is doing a new thing.
Yeah,
and it's crazy. But then it just takes a couple practices and do it. Do you guys ever switch instruments ever? Have you ever done that?
I used to play more keys live.
You played keys, yeah?
I did, yeah. Before we had Glenn,
we all did.
Yeah, we did. We all
Mark
kind
did,
of.
I did. Joe did.
We took turns, like
Ed
sort
did
of,
too.
not like reluctantly doing it. I don't know.
We got more members, so we don't have to.
Right. Yeah. Because I wrote a song on keys, at least one, and we just at different points in our history. I think each one of us, Mark and you and I, have all like been on keys, and I didn't like it as much as it's just not not an instrument that I'm good at. So live, it just I couldn't get into it as much. It was more of like just having to like.
I know that's how I
survive it. It's just like
survive
did it like.
But you got to get through that. I think you just have to practice it more.
Right.
That's with me. It's like that.
We took the easy way out.
Yeah, well,
we just got a Glenn.
Yeah, it makes a big difference when I'm there and I'm like trying to play. I'm not gonna play his parts because I'm not even close to that. And I have to sing at the same time.
Right.
But I saw. So you talking about getting new members? I saw the last show at company that I saw you guys, which wasn't the first show that I saw.
Right.
Oh yeah.
I saw some new members.
We had 3 fill-ins.
4.
Yeah.
No.
4.
So these.
Tori,
4,
Steph, Andres,
and Josh.
And Josh.
So
We were the only 2 paper
Is it
Hollanders
becoming more
there.
fluid of a thing, or is it usually just still the core?
It's still the core, but everyone's busy, so we found some.
The show must go on.
We used to just never even really consider it. Like if even I think for a long time, if even one person was unavailable for a show, we would just not do it. But I think as time went on, we both realized that was like a little silly, and also like everyone got better at just like finding subs for themselves, and like it just like we're playing with a sub for I think both shows this weekend, right?
Yeah, we have
Tori's with us for.
We have Bob Schaub playing drums with us. Yeah, he's great. On Friday,
and then
we
Tori
have
on Saturday.
Holcomb playing bass with us on Saturday.
So yeah, I think it's just a thing where now like it's just like a deeper. I don't want to say bench, but you know what I mean. It just it's cool. It's like we love our core.
The vibes change too.
They do. The vibes.
That's what I've enjoyed with different people's rotating
just
through.
different energies. And
yeah,
it is. Yeah,
you can learn the song in a new way, and the songs take new life, and it's like, wow, they play this a little differently. That changes the groove, and
totally.
Then the drummer can react differently to the bass, and then
it kind of keeps you honest on it because like it's not just muscle memory for you. Then it's like a little, it gets you excited, and it's kind of hearing your own stuff for like in a new way for the first time. You're like, oh shit, like.
Or it's all of a sudden now I'm challenged to change the rhythm a little bit on this verse.
Right.
Instead of singing it the same way I sang it every single time, now it's
like,
oh, now I get to change it up.
Match the feel. And
yeah. I like that a lot.
Yeah, I think it has been cool to like kind of have the music be fluid and all of like the lineup kind of be fluid. It's just that show had a very different feel, but it was really cool.
Yeah, they're all great musicians.
Yeah, definitely.
That makes it easy, right? And that's just what you want to be like. This was easier than I thought.
Yeah, well, we played a song with them. We played a song with them that they hadn't even rehearsed.
Yeah.
Like at the end of our show, like people still wanted one more song, and we like literally had played everything that we had rehearsed with them. And we're like, all right, I don't like we
had like turned off the amps and stuff, and Andres Crevetti was like pulled up his phone and listened to the first few seconds of a song and was like, let's do this.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I'll like, I'll signal the cues to you. And he was like, cool, we got it. I mean, it went pretty well for a song we had never played with them.
It's amazing what you can get away with when you got good musicians and you just have a skeleton of a song or even a little bit. It's like G major.
Right. And the end of the night when people are drunk and just want like they just wanted something to like keep
vibing and you're having fun with it and you're jamming. that's a whole industry, is just jam.
Yeah.
Where people just are up there, they don't even know what's going to happen. They're just going to go
Right.
and play. Okay, we got these couple chords. Let's find out what happens.
Right.
We're just going to go between them all. Bass and drums got to keep their shit together.
Yeah.
That's about it. You know, everyone else can play on top. That's just tough in jams. And bassists really, you need a good bass and a good drummer for sure.
Yeah.
At least, yeah, in jam. Because I'm not a bassist, but I play. You know, you play guitar, you can still see the map of the bass in your mind, but it's a different feel completely, and the groove is completely different. But sometimes it's fun because it's simpler, and you can rock on the simple things a lot more, or just play a simple interval or something, or like just something.
You can keep it nice and easy and like get into it.
Let the other people do the work.
Yeah. Just gonna hold.
But then you have to be on it though.
Yeah, you have to be on it. You have to be focused.
You were such a big part of that, like sustaining that group, carrying that. Like, I thought about playing bass more, but like and trying it like while singing.
Like Paul McCartney.
Yeah, a little Paul McCartney, little Sting do that too.
Sting did that. Yeah.
Mark Hoppus.
Yep.
I'm just going through the history of it now, but
the history of bassists who sing.
Yeah, I'm sure there are more.
The singer from MXPX.
All right, now we're getting into the pop punk luminaries.
I don't think I know that band. I don't think I know them.
Oh,
just like a Blink-182 era, like pop punk band.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they're still playing. They're still around, but they've been around for probably 30 years now.
Wow. 30 years. Yeah, it's crazy. How long is Paper Holland?
It feels like that long. It was 6. We've been playing out as an active band for 6 years. We released Happy Belated, our first album, in winter, like early 2013. But Paper Holland has been like a thing since 2008. Wow. So those songs that we released in 2013 were 10 songs that Andy and I recorded in 2008, and then kind of just
started in 2008.
Right. Well, I feel like mostly like recorded, at least like finished writing, I think, and then mostly.
Yeah. We started playing together in 2008, and then some of our friends offered to record an album if we had an album to record. So we wrote more songs and recorded them, and kind of just. I don't think there was ever really an intention of being like a band or anything. It was just hanging out and writing music, and then we had an album. We were like, it'd be cool to show people this music. So then we brought on Mark to play bass and our friend Brian, and we released it in January of 2013. So yeah, it took a long time to get there, but there was nothing propelling us to get to be a live band.
I was willing to let the songs die. Like honestly, like I was like they were the first 10 songs, like literally that I ever wrote. Like there was no like they weren't just like the first 2 songs or 10 songs that we ever wrote that we like released. There was nothing else in like that time period that we even considered. Like it was just like the first 10, boom, recorded.
Well, that's great that you're able to like have the first 10 still, you know, be good enough that you guys felt confident to put it on a record. You know, like that's awesome.
Yeah, we actually don't have it online anymore. We actually like we recently took it down. I don't know. You just
cringe or
it really was not.
I was gonna say because I don't think I've seen that album.
We've slowly,
like I said,
I'm good giving it away.
Company Brewing sort of like hosted our rebirth when we like in 2013 or no, in 2016 when we released Fast Food. That was sort of, I think, when we became like what we wanted Paper Holland to be. That EP and what's come after with Galapagos and Galapados is sort of more in line with like what we wanted Happy Belated to be, but the recording never was quite in that vein of where we wanted it to be.
Mm-hmm. In a lot of ways, it was actually like too good of a recording. Because I really wanted it to be like a lot more like lo-fi, and a lot of like the songs early on were recorded just like on GarageBand, like in my friend's like bathroom, and like so I knew like what I wanted out of it, but I also was like tantalized by the offer to like record it, to record an album like for free with our friends, but I don't know. It's tough. How do you feel about your early stuff?
Some of it's pretty cringe, and like I think, but sometimes, especially with the production, and the singing, some of it's just like oof. But
it's all like part of like your narrative, right? Because you like write an album every year.
At that time, I thought it was fucking awesome, and it was great. And in retrospect, some of that stuff, or it was good enough, and that's good enough. And
it's not just good; it's good enough.
Yeah. Well, some of the production.
Cullah reviews his own albums.
It's good enough.
Good enough. All right, on to the next one.
It's there.
Now I have some songs that are just like way over compressed.
Yeah.
And I like just know that I just fucking killed it in a bad way. Just putting a compressor, like an extra compressor when I just wanted it to be like louder when all I had, there's techniques that I know now that I didn't, things that I didn't know then.
Is there ever anything where you're like, whoa, I was like really into panning for that album? Like there's just like a ton of like.
I do a lot of vocal panning on some songs, and there's one with like the verse, and I thought it was great, but then people tell me that it's really not good for lead vocals.
Oh, because they need to be like more center and like something you can like grab onto the rest of the song and kind of move around it.
Yeah, those lead vocals in Blazing Day go like in a circle, like so it kind of fades in and out. But you can still hear.
I kind of like that though. I like the idea of that. Like,
but that was kind of like the idea of the song, was that it kind of followed that rhythm a little bit. But honestly, I probably just like put on some other. I think I put on a preset that I always messed with. And that was part of it, and sometimes I turned it off, and sometimes I didn't. I think I just didn't even notice it, and I could have just turned it off. But it's one of those things where now I get more meticulous with my stuff. Back then, it was for fun more than now. It's like, okay, I know. Now I'm like putting a lot of intention in all these songs and making it.
There's a big difference between just like creating something that's just like fun and something that you enjoy doing and you get from start to finish just like because you feel like it. And then there's like when you add in like you have people generally like contributing to it. And you have people who have like expectations and
so then good. You make them feel happy that they contribute, that they're part of it.
Yeah, there's an added pressure to
the full band
create something that you hope people like instead of just creating something that you hope you like.
Yeah, and that's the thing is I think at the end of the day, like I have to like it. I have to connect with the song.
Yeah, I saw you talk about that with Immortal Girlfriend. That was like one of the clips you used, and I definitely agree.
It has to, and I'm thinking about that as this album too. Like I've been talking to friends about like going back into comedy and my song. When I first started making songs, it was all just me like making beatbox beats and then telling a story over it about just a funny story. I made songs about grills, like barbecuing. Songs about. There's one of the first songs I made. It's called "The Story of the Dog." It was just
who loved barbecue sauce.
Yeah, I would go up to the dog, and the dog said, "Hey, what's up, dog?" And I said, "Hey, dog, what's up?" Stuff like that. And it's
such classic sense.
Yeah, like my brain, like trying to like think of things, and then like me coming to realization this is a dog, an actual dog, but he's talking to me.
Yeah.
It's just
like, he talking to you about like dog stuff. Or what are you talking about like human stuff?
No, he said, "What are you talking to a dog anyway?" Stuff like that. I don't know.
A lot of I feel like I sort of do chase that serendipity. Like some of our songs are like they do start off as novelties, and like one of the first songs I ever wrote started off as a joke song about like Rory Gilmore from the Gilmore Girls, and then I sort of like chase that like serendipity sometimes. Like I catch myself, I think, like being too serious, taking it all too seriously sometimes, and like, because like I love.
I'm so angsty, like heartbreak artist gets a little old in my mind.
Right.
Sometimes.
Well, every once in a while I'll watch.
I'm an artist.
Yeah, the artiste. I'm an artiste. I'll watch like Flight of the Conchords or something, and I'm like, oh man, music doesn't have to be serious at all. Like this is hilarious, but it still has like an emotional quality. Right. I
still like the me and you and me.
If that's what you're into.
Like that's hilarious, and it's super catchy, and I would sing that song like it's a good song.
Yeah.
It's not, and I mean I think about that more even with the song I Don't Mind It. There's some comedic elements to it, like even the way I'm articulating the words are like a little. I'm trying to not take it so seriously.
Yeah,
You know?
I can tell there's a little humor in your stuff.
Yeah,
like
there's definitely some threads in there.
it's like playful.
Yeah, the playfulness, at least, like, if it's not overly humorous, like, at least playful.
Yeah.
And that.
Yeah,
and that,
not slipping one-liners into the lyrics.
yeah, I mean, well, that's with rapping, right? Like, you can throw those in there, but there's a, yeah, I don't know, this next album, I think I have all these like songs that are like really weird shapes and forms and stuff, and I'm just like kind of thinking like, there's all these songs that I've been working on that I don't know what to do, and like with them, I've tried to sing over them. I might just release them anyway and just be like, because I've done that in the past, and it's like maybe that's another way to exercise that idea of this is for me. Like at the end of the day, like I have to do like this. And that's the intention. That's the whole reason why I'm doing it, and to like confirm that in my mind is to, like by acting upon that, like to stop that the fear of starting to make music because other people will like it, or like write a song for the radio. It's like, all right, well, I'll write one song for the radio, and everything else I'm gonna, or like I want to have to write that song.
I think about that a lot.
That,
I think about
I want to come up with, like, I don't mind it wasn't a song that's overly poppy, but it had pop structure, and it had these things that, because it has clear refrains, very clear things that are a catchy thing that people could remember. That's usually one of the. And so I have a song like that now, but for the next album, where it's like this hook of a phrase, right? A phrase that you can say over and over. That's this thing, but it changes keys, and it goes from this like Stranger Things crazy out of this world 80s thing to this really like chill and relaxed thing. It switches keys and then it goes into that, and it's like, I don't want to have to remove this first part because I really love that it transitions so abruptly, because that's what the song's about and stuff. But at the same time, I don't know how people are going to react to that if I like try to like promote that as like this song. People are going to be confused.
Yeah.
But or some maybe
it's interesting from like an outside perspective. I can like see you fighting it as an artist, and then like the artist in me is like, no, fuck that. Like release that.
Yeah, exactly.
Like do it the way that
do you.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what it seems to be. It seems to be. I went through it. I'm like, no, this when it switches to this other one, it's so exactly the feeling that I want to encapsulate.
There's a reason it happened, and like that's probably what makes it unique. And
that's what you can write the song about,
right?
Like how things are always changing, and they're like, like make it real. Like, no, you can feel it. This changes. It changes
right
from minor to major, and it goes up a third. And like it's a completely different shift. You're shifting it. You're shifting perspective. You're shifting mode. You're shifting all these things, but it still is the same, relative melody and beats and stuff. But yeah, it's an interesting thing trying to navigate that. So I try to that's why I try to keep everything open and keep everything. I think I have and keeping everything free and royalty free. I think I have a little bit of a protective layer for it, because it's like, well, at the end of the day, it's all free, and I can do it.
Right.
And and of course you can still exploit it with publishing and things. It's not like. That's the thing, is you can release the music for free, but you can also release it not for free.
Right.
You can do both.
That's true.
People can still buy it.
Well, they can buy it at your shows.
They can buy it.
Right. Pay what they want on Bandcamp.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That happens. People don't even want to mess around with some band's site. They just want to listen to it on Spotify.
Yeah. Right.
Or they want to go on Bandcamp, even though Bandcamp's awesome.
Bandcamp's great.
Yeah.
I love going down some like Bandcamp like rabbit holes and like finding new stuff.
I wish they had a little bit better of a Discover world.
Yeah.
Maybe that's on like I don't know. I never do it on mobile.
Discover, so maybe it's like a thing that
yeah.
But it's
the search isn't great.
I feel like they I don't know what this was from my experience. The way of uploading it and selling things is really good. The way of people supporting is great. You get a huge email list from it. It's very useful.
I think it's good at like recommending like similar things too.
Is it?
Yeah, I think so.
More often, maybe.
Like if you like this, like you might people also like this, like people who supported this or whatever. Like
so they have that information.
It'd be cool if there was just like a live feed of like the just like things being uploaded. Is that a thing?
They have a live feed
like
of
this
things
just
being sold.
Yeah, that is okay.
Scroll, it's like selling on Bandcamp right now.
Yeah, I was like, either I'm making this up or this is definitely a thing.
For like booking tours and stuff, it's cool like to go through different cities and stuff. That's why I wish their search was a little bit,
right.
a little bit. If you could
Search by
narrow it
city.
down by cities and stuff, that would be
that'd be amazing.
nice. Yeah.
How are we doing on time? Would it be
Yeah,
unprecedented for me to go to the bathroom? Has anyone ever taken a bathroom break during your podcast?
We're about 2 hours, so I think this is a good time to wrap it up, and we can all pee in general comfort.
Thank you.
Not that it wouldn't be comfortable peeing now, but
Has anyone ever?
Has everyone ever peed directly in this room?
That's the test.
Probably.
It's like Hot Ones, but the test is like
someone
you just give us all this liquid and just see how long I can talk to how candid I get if I really have to pee.
So okay. I have your guys' links to your things in the description of this video and in whatever audio thing you're listening to.
Hey, what are we all on?
Behringer.com.
What are we all live on? I know it's like
We're
your
just live
website.
on YouTube right now.
Live on YouTube? Okay.
But yeah, I host it on my site.
Okay.
There too, just embedded in there. Just
Cool.
It's like instead of telling people go to youtube.com/GVNY, like
Yeah.
You host it on your site and everything filters to there.
I try to do that on my site as much as I can. Like even for events and stuff, I just make a little redirect. So like for my, for an event, you want like an album release show or like to direct them to tickets price sales. Sometimes the URL is like insane.
Yeah.
You can't communicate that so easily on a lot of things. I just make like Cullah.com/whatever, and then it redirects them to.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And people know that it's my site, and they so
Find some other stuff. Find some merchandise. Find some.
Find yourself a spectacular sweater.
Oh yeah. Or vinyl.
Oh,
Yeah. But yeah, okay, so thanks guys for coming.
thanks for having us.
This was a great conversation. I know we could go for probably 3 more hours. maybe we'll bring you back and do it again.
Yeah, we'll do a part 2. Talk more about music or something.
Something like that.
We'll get our facts straight on Greta.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. I could say I was just talking about one thing about that. I saw the contrarian things of Greta. I saw a bunch of people on Twitter posting these like Nazi like things.
I saw that
They would show like young women and use it as propaganda tools for their agenda and stuff. And so,
they're likening it to that.
Yeah,
that
so
she's a propaganda. She's a prop.
Because the climate change involves a lot of government authoritarian, like at least that's what the narrative is, that if you want to change all this stuff, you need some government authority to make this stuff happen, and that's the slippery slope. Where it's like, well, you just stay, it's for the kids, and then the kids, you get a good spokesperson on behalf of your thing. It's very interesting, like different approach on it. I mean, she's got brown hair. I don't know if she's got blue eyes. But she's not. I don't know.
That's a wild way to invalidate something. It's a lot of work to.
Yeah, everyone.
The argument is that she is a
Nazi.
young female with braided hair.
Yeah, right.
Well,
There's some connection.
People do that with Sandy Hook and school shootings and stuff. They're like, those are child actors. Like people will stretch a lot to like not have to really face something sometimes.
Yeah. Well, that's a great way to leave this. I wanted to talk about it for a second. All right. Well, thanks, guys.
Yeah,
Thanks for having us.
We're gonna go out. Boom. Bye.
Oh, wrong way.